I walked into my bedroom on a Tuesday afternoon and found my wife Emily in bed with two men. My jaw clenched as I stood there, watching her face go white with terror. The rage that hit me was cold and precise, the kind that comes from 12 years as a Navy SEAL, where emotion gets you killed. My name is Thomas Adamson and I'm 35 years old. I didn't fall apart. I didn't run. When Jeffrey Whitmore and Dustin Parker attacked me days later on my own property, thinking they could intimidate me into silence, they learned exactly who they were dealing with. What followed wasn't just about catching cheaters. It was about making sure everyone who wronged me faced real, lasting consequences. Emily lost everything. Jeffrey's dealership crumbled. Dustin ended up behind bars. If you've ever been betrayed by someone you trusted, if you've ever wanted to see justice truly served, this is proof that sometimes the good guys win. But let me start from the beginning. Before I go any further, let me know in the comments where in the world you are watching from, and make sure to subscribe because tomorrow I will share a story you don't want to miss. I pulled into my driveway at 2 in the afternoon on a Tuesday, 3 days earlier than planned. Our training exercise in Virginia wrapped up ahead of schedule, and I figured I'd surprise Emily. We'd been married 6 years, and yeah, things had been distant lately with my deployment schedule, but I thought coming home early might help. The black Audi and silver BMW parked in front of my house stopped me cold. Nice cars, expensive. I didn't recognize either one. My gut tightened. That instinct you develop after years of ops work when something's off. I grabbed my duffel from the truck bed and walked to the front door, moving quietly out of habit. The house was too still, but I could hear sounds from upstairs. Voices, laughter. I climbed those stairs slowly, each step deliberate. Our bedroom door sat half open, and what I saw through that gap split my entire world in two. Emily, my wife, in our bed with two men, both of them at the same time. For exactly 3 seconds I stood there frozen, not from shock but from the sheer calculation of what I was seeing and what it meant. Emily's face went white when she spotted me. The two guys scrambled, grabbing for sheets, for clothes, for anything. "Thomas," Emily started, her voice shaking. "Don't." I cut her off, my voice cold and level. "Don't say my name. Don't say a word." The first guy, tall, maybe 40, with slicked back dark hair and an expensive watch glinting on his wrist, tried to play it cool. "Look, man, we didn't know she was—" "Shut your mouth," I said, stepping into the room. "Get dressed, all of you. You have 60 seconds. The second guy, younger, muscular, with tattoos running up his arm, had the audacity to smirk. "Or what? You gonna cry about it? She told us you were barely around anyway, man. Maybe if you paid more attention." I moved before he finished the sentence. 3 steps. My hand locked around his throat, and I slammed him against the wall hard enough that our wedding photo rattled in its frame. His eyes went wide, that smirk disappearing instantly. "I'm going to say this once," I said quietly, my face inches from his. "You're in my house. You're in my bed. With my wife. And you're going to talk to me like that?" I tightened my grip slightly. "I've killed men for a lot less. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to get dressed. You're going to give me your name, your phone number, and your address. And then you're going to leave. And if you ever come near my wife or my property again, I will end you. Do you understand?" He couldn't speak, just nodded frantically. I released him, and he crumpled, gasping. The other guy, the older one, was already pulling his pants on with shaking hands. "Jesus Christ, man, we're going. Names, numbers, addresses now." I pulled out my phone. The older guy stammered first. Jeffrey Whitmore, I own a car dealership downtown." He rattled off his number and address, hands trembling. The younger one, still rubbing his throat, managed to choke out, Dustin Parker. I'm a personal trainer." He gave me his information too, his bravado completely gone. "Get out," I said. "Both of you. Leave through the front door. Get in your cars. And remember that I know exactly who you are and where you live." They scrambled out like their lives depended on it, which in a way they did. Once their car doors slammed and engines started, I turned to Emily. She was still in that bed, still wrapped in our sheets, mascara running down her face. "How long?" I asked. "Thomas, How?" Long. She broke. 8 months. I met Jeffrey at a charity event. Dustin was my trainer. It just happened. 8 months. I let that sink in. 8 months of lies. 8 months of phone calls from overseas where I told her I missed her, where I counted down days until I could come home. So every time I called you, every time I told you I loved you, you were, "I'm sorry," she sobbed. "I was lonely. You're never here. You needed." I laughed, harsh and bitter. You know what I needed? A wife who didn't destroy everything we built. But we don't always get what we need, do we? "What are you going to do?" She whispered. "I'm going to make sure you regret this for the rest of your life." I said simply, "Pack a bag. You're leaving. Today. Right now. This is my house too. Not for long. You have 20 minutes. Then I'm calling the police and having you removed for trespassing." She knew I meant it. Emily grabbed clothes, threw things in a suitcase, crying the whole time. I stood there and watched, feeling nothing but cold fury burning through my veins. When she finally left, pulling out of the driveway in her car, I sat down in our living room and made a phone call. "Ricky," I said when he picked up, "I need a divorce attorney, the best one you know. Today." That same evening, at 7 p.m., I pulled into the parking lot of Angela Davis's law office in downtown San Diego. Ricky had called ahead, told her it was an emergency, and she'd agreed to meet me after hours. Her office was on the 3rd floor of a modern building, all glass and steel. Professional. I took the elevator up, my mind still numb from the afternoon's events. Angela met me at the door herself. She was in her 50s, sharp dresser in a navy business suit, with an intense gaze that made you feel like she was already 3 steps ahead of whatever you were about to say. "Thomas Adamson?" she asked, extending her hand. "Yes, ma'am." "Come in." "Ricky's already here." Ricky was sitting in one of the chairs across from her desk, still in his uniform from earlier. He stood when I entered, gripped my shoulder. "You doing okay?" "I'm handling it." Angela gestured for me to sit. Ricky gave me the basics over the phone. Wife, 6-year marriage, adultery discovered today. But I need details. Everything you can give me. I sat down and walked her through it. Coming home early, the 2 cars. Walking upstairs, finding Emily with Jeffrey Whitmore and Dustin Parker. Both of them. At the same time. Angela's expression didn't change, but she made notes on a legal pad in front of her. "You confronted them?" she asked. "I got their names, phone numbers and addresses," I said. Then I told them to leave. Emily packed a bag and left 20 minutes later. "Good. Did you threaten anyone? Make any statements that could be interpreted as coercion?" I thought back. I told the younger one, Dustin, that I'd killed men for less. And I put my hand on his throat when he mouthed off. But that was it. Angela wrote that down. "Understood. Physical contact with one of the men. We'll need to be careful with that if this goes to court. But given the circumstances, it's defensible." She looked up. "Tell me about the marriage finances. Assets, income, debts. We own the house together. Bought it 4 years ago. Still have a mortgage, but there's equity built up. I've got my Navy pension, 12 years of service. She's got her car, a Honda. I've got a truck. Joint checking and savings accounts, maybe 40,000 total. Any prenup? No. Children? No." Angela nodded, making more notes. "California's a no-fault state, Thomas. That means we don't technically need to prove adultery to get you a divorce. But here's what most people don't understand. Adultery still matters. It matters a lot when we're dividing assets, especially when we can prove it was long-term, deceptive, and involved significant breach of trust." She leaned forward. "You said 8 months? That's what Emily told me. Met Jeffrey at a charity event. Dustin was her personal trainer. And you were deployed during this time?" "I was in and out. Training rotations, overseas assignments, standard SEAL schedule." "Perfect," Angela said, and there was something almost predatory in her smile. "So while you were serving your country, risking your life, she was carrying on not 1 but 2 affairs for 8 months. And you have names, addresses, and phone numbers for both men." "Yes." "Do you have any other evidence, texts, emails, photos?" "I haven't looked yet, but I can check her laptop." She left it at the house. Don't touch it, Angela said immediately. We'll subpoena it through discovery. If you access it now, her attorney could claim tampering. Let me handle the evidence gathering legally. Ricky spoke up. Thomas, do you have security cameras at your house? I nodded. 4 of them. HD, cover the front door, driveway, garage, and backyard. Angela's eyes lit up. Excellent. Do they record or just display live feed? They record. 30-day rolling storage on a cloud server. Then we have footage of both men arriving at your house today, time-stamped. That's physical evidence of them being on your property during a time when you weren't supposed to be home. She made another note. This is good, Thomas. Really good. What are my options? I asked. You want my honest assessment? Angela asked. With what you've told me, with the timeline, the evidence we can gather, and the fact that she was carrying on 2 simultaneous affairs while you were deployed, I can make sure Emily walks away with almost nothing. Her car, her personal belongings, and that's it. You keep the house, your pension stays entirely yours, and she gets minimal spousal support, if any. How fast can you file? I'll have papers filed by tomorrow morning. We'll push for immediate asset freezing on joint accounts and temporary restraining orders if needed. Then we negotiate from a position of strength. I want the house, I said. I want my pension protected. She can have her car and her stuff. That's it. Consider it done. Ricky leaned forward. Thomas, you need to hear this from me as your friend. The next few weeks are going to be hell. Emily's going to try to contact you. She's going to cry, beg, make excuses. You need to stay calm, document everything. Don't engage unless Angela tells you to. I won't. And if those 2 guys show up again, Jeffrey or Dustin, you call the police immediately. Don't confront them. Don't touch them, understand? I understand. Angela closed her notepad. Get some rest tonight if you can. Tomorrow starts the process. And Thomas, you're doing the right thing. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. I left that office feeling something I hadn't felt since walking into my bedroom that afternoon. Focused. Determined. The next 3 days passed in a strange blur. I stayed in the house. Emily stayed at her sister's place across town. Angela filed the divorce papers and started building the case. I went through the motions at work, kept my head down, didn't tell anyone except Ricky what was happening. I pulled up the security camera footage on my laptop one evening just to confirm everything was working. 4 cameras, all recording in HD. The driveway, the garage, the front door, the backyard, every angle covered. On the 3rd evening after everything imploded, I was in my garage working on my truck. It was around 6 p.m., still light out, and I needed something to keep my hands busy. The wrench felt good in my grip, solid and real. That's when I heard tires on gravel. I looked up. Jeffrey's black Audi pulled into my driveway, followed immediately by Dustin's silver BMW. Both men got out of their vehicles and started walking toward me. Their postures were aggressive, shoulders squared, jaws set. My gut tightened, but I didn't move. I just watched them come, the wrench still in my hand. Jeffrey stopped about 10 feet from me. Dustin flanked him on the left, trying to look intimidating. We need to talk, Jeffrey said. I straightened up from the truck, putting the wrench down on my workbench, kept my hands loose at my sides. You need to leave my property, now. No, see, you ruined our lives, Dustin said, his voice hard with accusation. Emily's been calling us, crying, saying you're taking everything. She told us you threatened her. I didn't threaten her. I told her the truth. I kept my voice level, calm. Now get off my property. Jeffrey stepped closer. You humiliated us. You put your hands on Dustin. You think you can just do whatever you want because you were some military tough guy? Were? I smiled without any humor. I am. And you need to leave. Last warning. Or what? Dustin said, puffing his chest out like that was supposed to scare me. You gonna choke me again? There's 2 of us now, man. And no witnesses. That's when I knew exactly what they'd come here to do. They thought they could rough me up a bit. Send a message. Maybe intimidate me into backing off the divorce terms or dropping whatever charges they thought I might file. What they didn't understand was that I'd been in situations where men with actual training and actual weapons tried to kill me. These 2? They were civilians playing tough. Dustin moved first. He lunged forward, reaching for my shirt with both hands, trying to grab me. I sidestepped, caught his extended arm, and used his own momentum to slam him face first into the side of my truck. The impact was sharp and immediate. His nose crunched against the metal with a sound like stepping on dry leaves. Jeffrey swung at me, wide and clumsy, telegraphing the punch from a mile away. I blocked it with my forearm, drove my elbow straight into his solar plexus and swept his legs out from under him in one smooth motion. He hit the concrete floor hard, all the air leaving his lungs in a desperate whoosh. The whole thing took maybe 5 seconds. Total. Dustin was sliding down the side of my truck, blood pouring from his nose, dripping onto my garage floor. Jeffrey was gasping on the concrete like a fish pulled out of water, his face red, his mouth opening and closing. I pulled out my phone, completely calm, and looked down at both of them. "You attacked me," I said. "On my property, and I have security cameras, 4 of them HD, recording everything." Both of them froze. Even Dustin stopped clutching his nose for a second, his eyes going wide. "That's right," I continued, gesturing up at the corners of my garage where 2 of the cameras were mounted. "Everything you just did is on video. You getting out of your cars, walking toward me aggressively, Dustin grabbing me first, Jeffrey throwing a punch, everything. And I have a buddy who's a detective with San Diego PD. You want to guess what happens next?" Jeffrey managed to choke out some words between gasps. We'll say you attacked us." I crouched down next to him, close enough that he could see I wasn't even breathing hard. "Good luck with that. The cameras show you arriving. They show you approaching me. They show you attacking first. They show me defending myself. You made a huge mistake coming here, Jeffrey, both of you did. You broke my nose," Dustin groaned, blood running between his fingers. "You grabbed me first. That's assault. On my property. Recorded in HD. I stood back up. Now get off my property before I call the cops and have you both arrested right here, right now." They scrambled up, Jeffrey still wheezing, Dustin clutching his face. They stumbled to their cars, fumbling with door handles, not looking back. Engines started. Tires squealed as they peeled out of my driveway like their lives depended on it. I watched them disappear down the street, then pulled up Ken Sanders' number on my phone. Ken and I went back years. We'd met through a veterans group when he first joined San Diego PD, and we'd stayed friends. He picked up on the second ring. "Thomas, what's up?" "Ken, I need to report an assault. 2 men just attacked me on my property tonight, and I have it all on camera." There was a brief pause. "You okay?" "I'm fine." "They're not. I'm coming over, don't touch anything, I'll be there in 20. "Thanks, Ken." I hung up and looked around my garage. Everything was exactly as it had been, except for some blood drops on the concrete and a small dent in the side of my truck where Dustin's face had connected. Worth it. Ken showed up in 20 minutes, just like he said he would. He pulled up in an unmarked sedan dressed in jeans and a polo shirt, off-duty but all business. I met him at the garage door. "You really okay?" he asked, looking me over. "Not a scratch on me. Can't say the same for them." He nodded, pulling out a notebook. "Let's see the footage." I led him inside to my home office where I kept the security system monitor. I pulled up the recordings from all 4 cameras, syncing them to 6:15 p.m., right before Jeffrey and Dustin arrived. Ken leaned forward, watching intently as the footage played, the black Audi pulling in, the silver BMW right behind it, both men getting out, their body language aggressive from the start. The walk toward my garage, Jeffrey's gestures animated, clearly agitated. Me straightening up from my truck, setting down the wrench. The conversation, no audio but the body language, spoke volumes. Dustin stepping in close, grabbing my shirt with both hands. My response, fast and controlled. Jeffrey swinging, me blocking and dropping him. The whole thing over in seconds. Ken rewound it, watched it again. Then a third time. "This is crystal clear, Thomas. Textbook self-defense. They approached you on your property, initiated physical contact, threw punches. You responded with appropriate force." He looked up at me. "I'm filing assault charges against both of them. Tonight." "Good." He spent the next hour taking my formal statement, documenting everything from the bedroom discovery on Tuesday through tonight's attack. He wrote down Jeffrey's and Dustin's full names, addresses, vehicle descriptions, every detail. "The DA's office is going to love this," Ken said, closing his notebook around 9 p.m. You've got military training, clear evidence, and these idiots attacked you in your own garage after you caught them with your wife. They're done. What happens next? I file the report tonight. Warrants get issued tomorrow morning. We pick them both up, probably before lunch. He paused. You willing to testify if this goes to trial? Absolutely. Good man. Ken stood, gathering his things. I'll make copies of all this footage. You keep the original secure. Already backed up in 3 places. Ken smiled. Of course you did. He left around 9:30. I sat in my living room for a while, the house quiet, processing everything. 3 days ago, I'd walked in on my wife with 2 men. Now those same 2 men were facing assault charges. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. The next morning, my phone rang just after 8 a.m. Ken. Both subjects arrested this morning. Jeffrey Whitmore posted bail an hour ago. Dustin Parker's still in lockup. Turns out he's got a prior assault conviction from 3 years back. Judge denied bail pending arraignment. How long's he looking at? With his record? Could be serious time if convicted. 6 months minimum, maybe more. I should have felt satisfied. Instead, I just felt cold, detached, like I was watching all of this happen to someone else. An hour later, Angela called. Thomas, we have a very interesting development. Emily's attorney just contacted me requesting an immediate settlement negotiation. I sat up straighter. Already? Your wife just found out that both her boyfriends were arrested this morning. Jeffrey made bail, but Dustin's in jail. Emily is, and I quote, terrified this is going to become a public scandal. She wants to settle quickly and quietly. What are you recommending? That depends on what you want. We have enormous leverage right now. Adultery, criminal charges against her lovers, public embarrassment. We could push for substantial financial penalties. No, I cut her off. Here are my terms, Angela. I keep the house. Full stop. I keep my entire military pension with 0 division. Emily gets nothing, absolutely nothing from my military benefits. She can have her car and her personal belongings. That's it. Angela was quiet for a moment. Thomas, you could push for more. Given the circumstances, I don't want her money, I just want her gone, and I want everyone involved to understand they can't touch me. Make it happen. All right. I'll present the terms today. 3 days later, Angela called again. Emily signed. Didn't contest a single term. Her attorney advised her that fighting would only make everything worse, especially with criminal charges pending against Jeffrey and Dustin. Good. Thomas, I've been doing this for 25 years. I have never seen someone walk away from a divorce this decisively. You won. Completely. I didn't win anything, Angela. I just didn't lose. A week after the garage attack, Angela called one final time. It's official. Divorce finalized. Emily has vacated all claims to the property and your benefits. You're free. Free. Funny word for it. But I'd take it. 2 weeks after the divorce finalized, I walked into the San Diego courthouse on a Wednesday morning. The building smelled like floor polish and stale coffee, a scent I'd come to associate with bureaucracy and waiting. Prosecutor Carla Robinson met me outside courtroom 4B. She was mid-40s, sharp eyes, carried a trial binder thick enough to be a weapon. Mr. Adamson, she said, shaking my hand. Thanks for coming. This should be straightforward. The video evidence makes both cases about as clear-cut as they get. Good. Judge Jensen's presiding. He's fair, no nonsense, doesn't tolerate games. She glanced at her watch. We're doing Whitmore first, then Parker after lunch. You ready to testify? I've been ready since they showed up at my house. Judge Albert Jensen was exactly what Carla described. Older guy, gray hair, stern expression that probably made lawyers nervous. He called Jeffrey's hearing to order at 9 a.m. sharp. Jeffrey sat at the defense table looking significantly less confident than he had in my garage. His attorney, some guy in an expensive suit who kept adjusting his tie, whispered something to Jeffrey before the proceedings started. I took the stand and placed my hand on the Bible. Told the truth, the whole truth, nothing but. Mr. Adamson, Carla said, please describe for the court the events of Tuesday, October 15th, beginning with your arrival home. I walked through it, coming home early, the 2 cars, finding Emily in our bed with Jeffrey Whitmore and Dustin Parker. how I demanded their information before ordering them out of my house. Jeffrey's attorney shifted uncomfortably when I described that part. Then I got to the garage attack 3 days later. Jeffrey Whitmore and Dustin Parker arrived at my property around 6 p.m. Both of them got out of their vehicles and approached me in an aggressive manner. Mr. Whitmore accused me of ruining their lives. Mr. Parker made threats. I told them multiple times to leave my property. Mr. Whitmore ignored those warnings and threw a punch at me. I defended myself. Carla played the security footage on a screen visible to the entire courtroom. You could have heard a pin drop. The video showed everything exactly as I'd described. Jeffrey and Dustin arriving, walking toward me with hostile body language, me warning them, Dustin grabbing my shirt, Jeffrey swinging, my response taking all of 5 seconds. Jeffrey's attorney stood. Your Honor, my client was provoked by Mr. Adamson's earlier assault on Mr. Parker in the bedroom. Objection. Carla cut in smoothly. The video clearly shows Mr. Adamson giving both men multiple orders to vacate his property before defending himself. There was no assault in the bedroom. Mr. Adamson removed trespassers from his home. And this hearing is about what happened on October 18th, not October 15th. Judge Jensen looked at Jeffrey's attorney over his glasses. Sustained. Counsel, do you have any actual defense here, or are we wasting the court's time? The attorney deflated. Your Honor, I'd like to request a recess to discuss a possible plea arrangement. Granted, 30 minutes. 25 minutes later, Jeffrey took a plea deal. Probation, 200 hours of community service, a fine, and a permanent restraining order keeping him at least 500 feet away from me at all times. Jeffrey's attorney leaned over and said something to Jeffrey I couldn't quite hear, but I caught the words, dealership and reputation damage. Jeffrey's face went pale. Good. Dustin's hearing started right after lunch. His case was worse. The prior assault conviction from 3 years back hung over everything like a dark cloud. Dustin sat at the defense table in an orange jumpsuit, hands cuffed. He wouldn't look at me. I testified again. Same story, same video. Dustin's public defender, a tired-looking woman named Patricia Morales who'd clearly drawn the short straw, tried her best. Your Honor, my client maintains he was acting in self-defense after being assaulted by Mr. Adamson days earlier. Carla stood. The video contradicts that entirely. Mr. Parker initiated physical contact. He grabbed Mr. Adamson's shirt. The footage is unambiguous. Judge Jensen watched the video again. Shook his head. Mr. Parker, you have a prior assault conviction. You traveled to Mr. Adamson's property. You initiated physical contact. You attacked him in his own garage. He looked at the public defender. I'm ordering your client held for trial without bail. He's a danger to others. Dustin finally looked up, panic flooding his face. Your Honor, please, you should have thought about that before you assaulted someone on their own property, Mr. Parker. 2 weeks later, Carla called me. Dustin Parker took a plea. 6 months in county jail, probation after release, restraining order. He's done. Good. You did well, Thomas. Both of them faced real consequences. They earned them. That evening, I got home to find a voicemail waiting. Emily. I almost deleted it without listening, but curiosity got the better of me. Thomas, please, I know you're angry and you have every right to be, but this is destroying my life. Jeffrey won't talk to me. Dustin's in jail. Everyone knows what happened. My family won't speak to me. Please, can't we just move past this? I made a mistake. I know I did. But does everyone have to suffer? Her voice cracked at the end. I stared at my phone for a long moment. Then I deleted the message. You want mercy, Emily? You should have thought about that before you brought 2 men into our bed. Actions have consequences. And I was done being the understanding husband. 6 months after signing those divorce papers, my life looked nothing like it used to, and that was a good thing. I took a position as a tactical instructor at Sentinel Security Solutions, a private firm in San Diego that contracted with corporations and government agencies. Better pay than I'd made in the Navy. No deployments, no months away from home. Just training the next generation of operators, former military, ex-law enforcement, guys who needed to sharpen their edge. I was good at it, really good. The house was quiet now. clean, mine. No one else's shoes by the door, no one else's mess in the kitchen. Just me, my routine, my space. Some nights I'd sit on the back porch with a beer and remember when Emily and I first bought this place. How excited she'd been about the backyard. How we'd talked about maybe putting in a pool someday. That felt like a different life now. A different man. Dr. Carla Robinson's office became part of my weekly routine. Ricky had recommended her. Said she specialized in working with veterans, understood the transition challenges, the psychological toll of combat and service. I wasn't sure I needed therapy at first. I'd handled everything fine, hadn't I? Stayed in control, made the right moves. But Ricky insisted. Just talk to her, Thomas. Make sure you're processing this stuff the right way. So I went. Carla's office was designed to put people at ease. Soft lighting, comfortable chairs, decorations that didn't feel clinical. She was maybe late 40s, professional but warm, with the kind of direct eye contact that told you she actually listened. You handled the situation with precision, she told me during one of our sessions, maybe the fourth or fifth. Everything you've described, the way you documented evidence, protected yourself legally, responded to the physical threats, it was textbook crisis management. But, I said, because there's always a but with therapists. But I want to make sure you're not just burying the emotional damage underneath all that control. I sat back, thought about that. I'm angry, I admitted. I won't lie about that. Some days I wake up and the first thing I think about is what Emily did. What those two idiots did. How they thought they could just take from me and walk away clean. That's normal. But I channeled it, I continued. I didn't lose control. I didn't do anything illegal or stupid. I protected myself legally. I protected myself physically when they came after me. And now I'm moving forward. That's healthy, isn't it? Carla nodded slowly. It is, but remember, revenge is satisfying in the moment. Peace comes from letting go. I have let go, I said, leaning forward. I let go of Emily. I let go of the marriage. What I haven't let go of is my self-respect, and I never will. She smiled slightly. That's a good distinction to make. 7 months after the divorce, Ricky dragged me to a veterans event at a community center downtown. You need to get out, he'd said. Meet people. Stop sitting in that house alone every night. I went mostly to shut him up. That's where I met Janine Nguyen. She was standing by the refreshment table, laughing with a group of former Navy personnel, and when she caught me looking, she walked right over. You're Thomas Adamson, she said with a grin. Guilty. You're the guy who took down 2 men in his garage. I blinked. News travels fast. In the veteran community? Always. She extended her hand. Janine Nguyen, former Navy logistics officer. And you're kind of a legend now. I just did what anyone would do. No, she said, her tone shifting to something more serious. Most people would have fallen apart. You didn't. That says something. We talked for 2 hours that night. She understood the life, the deployments, the discipline, the way military service shapes how you see the world. She was funny, smart, and didn't treat me like I was fragile. We started seeing each other regularly after that. Coffee, dinner, long conversations that stretched into the early hours. She knew everything that happened with Emily. I didn't hide it, and she didn't judge. You handled it the right way, she told me one night over dinner. You protected yourself. That's not revenge. That's survival. Some people might disagree. Some people have never been betrayed like that. 8 months after the divorce, I was home on a Thursday evening when my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Probably spam. Probably someone trying to sell me something. But something made me pick up. Yeah? Thomas? It's me. Emily. My chest tightened. How did you get this number? Please just... I need to talk to you. 5 minutes, that's all I'm asking. I should have hung up. Should have just ended the call the second I heard her voice. But I gave her 3 minutes. Talk. I made a mistake. Her voice was shaking. Raw. The biggest mistake of my life. I lost everything, Thomas. Jeffrey won't talk to me anymore. He blocked my number. Dustin blames me for his jail time. He sent me a message from inside saying I ruined his life. My family barely speaks to me. My sister lets me stay at her place, but she looks at me like I'm trash. And you? She broke off. You were the best thing I ever had, and I destroyed it. Yes, you did. Is there any chance we could? No. Silence on the line. I could hear her breathing, hear her trying to hold it together. Thomas, please. I've changed. I've been in therapy for months. I realize now what I threw away. What we had. Emily, I want you to listen very carefully, I said, my voice flat and cold. What you're feeling right now, that regret, that emptiness, that's the consequence of your choices. You didn't just cheat on me. You lied to me for 8 months. You brought 2 men into our bed, into our home. You disrespected everything we built together. And then, when I defended myself, when I protected what was mine, you tried to play the victim. So no, there is no chance. There will never be a chance. Move on with your life, Emily, and stay the hell out of mine. I hung up. My hand was shaking. Not from anger, from the sheer audacity of her thinking she could just call me up and fix this with some tears and therapy talk. She didn't call again after that. 2 months later, I was at the security firm running a training exercise when my phone buzzed. Angela Davis. Thomas, we have a problem. My stomach dropped. What kind of problem? Emily is filing a motion to reopen the divorce settlement. She's claiming duress and emotional coercion. I stopped walking. What? She hired a new attorney, Gerald Clarkson. Aggressive guy. Reputation for playing dirty. He's claiming that you used your military training and physical intimidation to force her into signing. He's citing the assault case with Jeffrey and Dustin as evidence of your violent tendencies. That's insane. I defended myself, and she had her own attorney during the divorce. I know, and we'll win. But Thomas, this is going to drag things out, possibly for months. And there's more. My chest tightened. What? Jeffrey Whitmore is suing you. Civil suit. He's claiming your assault caused him lasting physical and emotional damage. He's asking for $200,000 in damages. I couldn't speak for a second. You're kidding. I wish I was. Dustin filed one too. His is for $300,000. Wrongful imprisonment and defamation. They attacked me. My voice came out louder than I intended. A couple of instructors nearby glanced over. I stepped into an empty office and shut the door. They came to my property. They threatened me. They threw punches. I have video of everything. And we'll use that video to beat both suits, Angela said firmly. But Thomas, this is going to be expensive. Legal fees, court costs, time. They're trying to bleed you dry. Emily coordinated this. It wasn't a question. I suspect so, but we can't prove it, not yet. For the first time since this whole nightmare started, I felt genuinely shaken. Not scared, but the sheer audacity of them trying to turn this around on me was almost overwhelming. You ever have that moment where you realize people will do anything to avoid facing what they've done? Where they'll twist reality itself just to make themselves the victim? Angela, I did everything right, everything legal, and they're still coming after me. I know, but we're going to fight back, hard. I'm filing counter motions this week. And Thomas? We're going to destroy every single one of these claims. That evening I was sitting on my back porch staring out at nothing. The sun had set an hour ago. I hadn't moved. Hey. I looked up. Janine was standing in the doorway, her expression soft but concerned. Angela called me, she said, walking over. I'm listed as your emergency contact, remember? This is insane, I said quietly. I did everything right, everything legal, and they're still coming after me. She sat down next to me, took my hand. So fight back. You're good at that. I'm tired of fighting, Janine. I know. She squeezed my hand. But you're not alone this time. You've got people in your corner. Angela's the best. And you've got me. We'll get through this. Together. 2 weeks after Angela dropped the bomb about the lawsuits, I met her at her office to go over the counter strategy. She had papers spread across her conference table like a battlefield map, which I suppose it was. Emily's motion first, Angela said, tapping a thick folder. I've filed counter motions that demolish her duress claims. We've included the security footage from the garage attack, time-stamped records proving she had independent legal counsel during the divorce, and testimony from Ricky documenting your emotional state during the entire process. How solid is it? Rock solid. But I wanted to twist the knife a little. She smiled, sharp and cold. I scheduled a deposition of Emily, yesterday. How'd that go? She fell apart, contradicted herself 4 times in under an hour, claimed she felt threatened by you but also admitted you never raised your voice or made physical contact with her during the divorce proceedings. Gerald Clarkson looked ready to quit on the spot. I felt a grim satisfaction settle in my chest. Good. For Jeffrey's suit, I went scorched earth. Angela continued, pulling out another file. Subpoenaed his business records. Guess what I found? What? Embezzlement. Not a massive amount, just enough to be a felony. He's been skimming from his own dealership for at least 2 years. Small amounts, but consistent. You're kidding. I never kid about evidence, Thomas. I've already contacted the DA's office. Jeffrey's going to have much bigger problems than suing you. I shook my head. These people just keep digging themselves deeper. They do. Now Dustin's lawsuit. That one was easier than I expected. 3 weeks later, I sat in a courtroom watching Daniel Wright take the witness stand. Dan and I had served together for 4 years. Solid operator, smart. And when Angela reached out to him about testifying, he didn't hesitate. Mr. Wright, Angela began, can you describe your professional relationship with Thomas Adamson? We served on the same SEAL team for 4 years, Dan said, his voice steady and confident. Multiple deployments. I watched Thomas handle situations most people can't even imagine. He's one of the most disciplined, controlled operators I've ever worked with. Angela pulled up the garage security footage on the courtroom screen. I'd like you to watch this footage and provide your expert opinion on Mr. Adamson's response. The footage played, Dustin grabbing my shirt, Jeffrey throwing a punch. My response, fast, precise, over in seconds. That's textbook defensive tactics, Dan said when it finished. Appropriate restraint. Thomas neutralized 2 threats without causing serious injury. If he'd wanted to hurt those men, really hurt them, they'd be in the hospital, not jail. What you're seeing is a trained professional using minimal force to protect himself. Dustin's attorney tried to argue that my response was excessive. Dan shut it down immediately. Excessive? Dan said. Sir, with all due respect, Thomas could have broken bones, ruptured organs, caused permanent damage. He didn't. He controlled the situation and stopped. That's the opposite of excessive. The judge threw out Dustin's lawsuit that same day, ordered Dustin to pay my legal fees as a sanction for filing a frivolous suit. 1 down. Emily's motion to reopen the divorce came next. The hearing lasted 20 minutes. The judge reviewed Angela's evidence, listened to her arguments, and didn't even let Gerald Clarkson finish his rebuttal. Motion denied, the judge said. With prejudice. Ms. Adamson had independent legal counsel, there's no evidence of coercion, and her testimony contradicts her own claims. This case is closed. Permanently. Emily walked out of that courtroom looking like someone had pulled the ground out from under her. Jeffrey dropped his lawsuit the day after the DA's office contacted him about the embezzlement investigation. His attorney called Angela to formally withdraw the suit. No settlement, no negotiation. Just gone. He's got a felony charge hanging over his head now, Angela told me over the phone. He can't afford to fight you and the state at the same time. 4 months after the threat started, it was over. All of it. Every legal case resolved in my favor. 1 year after I walked into that bedroom, I was standing in my backyard at a small barbecue. The sun was setting, painting the sky orange and pink. Ricky was manning the grill. Ken was telling some story about a case he'd worked. Angela showed up with her husband, both of them relaxed and smiling. And Janine, right next to me, her hand in mine. To Thomas, Ricky raised his beer. The guy who proved you should never mess with a Navy SEAL. Everyone laughed, raised their drinks. I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Peace. Later, Janine pulled me aside near the fence, away from the group. You doing okay? She asked. Really? Yeah, I said, and I meant it. I'm actually great. No regrets? None. Emily made her choice. Jeffrey and Dustin made theirs. I just made sure they faced the consequences. She kissed me, soft and warm. Good, she said. Because I'm not going anywhere. Neither am I. 2 years after I walked into that bedroom and my life split in half, I woke up next to Janine Adamson, my wife, and felt nothing but gratitude. We got married 8 months ago. Small ceremony, maybe 30 people. Close friends, family, veterans who'd stood by me through everything. Janine wore a simple white dress, and when she said her vows, she looked me in the eye and promised to never take me for granted. She meant it. I know she did. Janine understands me in ways Emily never could. She gets the military life because she lived it herself. She respects the discipline, the loyalty, the code that comes with service. When I have a rough day or need space to process something, she doesn't take it personally. She just gives me what I need. And when I'm ready to talk, she's there. Always. The security firm promoted me to regional director 6 months ago. I'm training operators across the West Coast now, building programs, setting standards, making sure the next generation knows what they're doing. It's work I'm proud of. Work that matters. We live in the house. The same house where it all happened. Some people asked why I didn't sell it, didn't start fresh somewhere else. Because it's mine. I earned it. I'm not letting what Emily did take anything else from me. Janine and I painted the bedroom. New furniture. New everything. The memories are still there, buried somewhere, but they don't hurt anymore. They're just proof that I survived. I heard through mutual friends what happened to the others. Emily moved back in with her parents. Burned through whatever savings she had on legal fees. Gerald Clarkson didn't come cheap, and when the case fell apart, she was stuck with the bill. Last I heard, she's working retail, some department store. Still single, too. Word got around about what she did, about the affair, about the 2 men, about her trying to come after me legally. Turns out people don't want to date someone with that kind of reputation. She made her bed. Now she's lying in it, alone. Jeffrey lost the dealership. The embezzlement charges forced a plea deal. Restitution, probation, community service. He manages a used car lot now, one of those sketchy places on the edge of town where they'll finance anyone. Barely makes enough to cover his debts. His reputation in San Diego's business community? Destroyed. No one trusts him. No one wants to work with him. And Dustin? He finished his 6 months in county jail and left the state. Moved to Arizona, I think. His personal training career is over. No gym will hire a guy with an assault record. All his private clients dropped him the second the news broke. He's working construction now. Hard labor. Long hours. Exactly what he deserves. People ask me sometimes, friends, colleagues, guys I train, if I feel bad about how hard I came down on Emily and her lovers. I don't. Not even a little. They made their choices. Emily lied to me for 8 months, brought 2 men into our bed, into our home, disrespected everything we built together, and when I defended myself, when I protected what was mine, they tried to destroy me, legally, financially, emotionally. So no, I don't feel bad. I made sure justice was served. That's it. That's all. You want to call it revenge? Fine, but revenge implies I did something wrong. I didn't. I just made sure actions had consequences. And they did. Oh, they did. I wake up every morning next to Janine. I go to a job I love. I come home to a house that's filled with peace, not chaos. And I sleep like a baby every single night. Because I know deep in my bones that the people who wronged me got exactly what they deserved. Some betrayals don't deserve forgiveness. They deserve the full weight of their own actions coming back to crush them. Emily wanted comfort and excitement without consequences. She got consequences. Jeffrey and Dustin wanted to intimidate me, scare me into silence. They got 6 months in jail and ruined careers. Me? I got my life back. Better than before. No regrets. None. Just satisfaction. And peace. I believe stories such as this find us for a reason. If this one touches you, please subscribe. I share a new one every day. In the meantime, there are 2 stories on the screen that are even better.